We're going to discuss spiritual disciplines this morning in the middle of a spiritual empowerment. An empowerment would be, I know with my friend Baba Bedi in India 50 years ago, or when I've done it 60 years ago, I've done it always where you sit devotedly by your teacher, which in the Upanishads, the great Indian seers and mystics from 7,000 years, you have their collected writings, and all the Upanishads mean is, the meaning, literal meaning, is sitting by devotedly. I know my grandma would read from the Bible to me when I was 4 years old. I would just sit by, and I didn't understand the language exactly, but it was from her heart and soul. And I sat in her lap, and she spoke and read, and you just feel this flow of presence. I know, being a spiritual teacher, as you are, as I am, all of my life, people would just sit by devotedly. And that's what today is about. My buddy Baba Bedi, he would talk, he was a great clairvoyant, and he would hold people's hands, and he lived like a very normal person. Around him were all these famous mystics and teachers, and then wore certain clothing, and he was just sat in his living room, and he'd hold your hand, and you'd experience your recent lifetimes. And he did it so naturally and easily, you just think it's like having a cup of coffee with a friend in the morning. At the same time, the most profound experience of your life will occur. And the most profound experience of our life will occur this morning because we're going to understand the disciplines, the enormous genius and resilience and power and presence of a spiritual teacher in your life. And you are the spiritual teacher in your life. You'll lock down, you'll almost be devoid of friendship throughout your whole life. And the reason for that is that you're self-contained in a state of godness. That doesn't make you just joyous all day. You have a happiness inside that is indescribable. It's indescribable because the world does not exist from the first moment of spiritual consciousness. The phenomenological world, things, places, people, times, names, nothing is. You just disappear through it. It's a presence, it's a kindness, it's a wisdom, an understanding, a purity, a love beyond all words. And you have to toughen up in the beginning. I'll speak for myself because this is something that occurs in all spiritual lives. You can have no one near you. You can't be in love, although you're certainly in love from time to time or forever, because you don't want anyone near you in the physical world, but you are for their safety, because they'll be targets, because you're a target. I remember asking Baba Bedi, there were two people in my life I asked a spiritual question, and this was one. I asked him why there were so many attacks at me, and he said, the taller the tree, the longer the shadow. In other words, the closer you are to heaven, the more available you are to the dark side. Now, you're not available to it if you keep your disciplines within, but you are a target, because the world does not exist to all spiritual people. It's called the illusion, Maya in Sanskrit. It's not really here. And when you really fall in love, like we'll say, I loved my teacher, and so I could never be near Kathleen because I didn't want her to be a target. So the great loves you have in your life, I can't be near my family. And I have 4 beautiful sisters, my young brother James, and I knew to stay 3,000 miles away from all the people I love for them. So you give everything up to give everything from the soul to help transfer human consciousness from the body to the soul. There is the soul, it's God, it's you, it's me. It's the deep harmony we experience with God in spiritual awareness while we're sitting by devotedly and simply bathe in this soft, easy glow of the Almighty. God is the King, but it's the King who gives more than the King is to us. And we're all pure and innocent in God's eye forever. And we're all heroic in God's eye forever. Especially now that we seem to be incarnate, which we're not. And that's why we sit by devotedly, to understand those words, to divest our heart and mind and soul of the conditioning process that's taken place from birth. Like I say, God loves us. We're God's hero. We allow ourselves to be born into this madness and silliness. It doesn't. This the egregious nature of human life is. There's nothing easy and simple and good about it. Except when you touch with the heart, with the soul, with love, with kindness, with heroic spiritual action. Yeah, you'll feel it, but more deeply, you're cognizant of the fact at a certain point that you're born into the world for a reason, and because the world does not exist anywhere else in the infinite vastness of spiritual experience. It's a one-off. It just happened. And you can never blame God, but God will accept blame, always. Don't worry about that. But when you get really quiet, you'll look through all this. You'll be angry with nothing, no one, nothing. You'll get it. And the conditioning that's taken place in our life from birth to this moment, or several lives to this moment, it'll all be gone. There's nothing wrong with you. There's everything right with you. Every infinitesimal circumstance which cause you guilt, shame, fear, trepidation in any sense, or lack of anything, that's the devil, that's the world consciousness, that's the conditioning. And if you can just step back while you're being bathed in the warm presence of the divine, you'll see that. You'll know that. There's nothing to fear. There's no reason to have any angst. At the same time, people that are lost in this will be setting you up every day, which is why I'm alone forever. I have a dear friend, a partner in this work. Anyway, I can't be near anyone because they become a target. So I very quietly and subtly walk away and distance myself for them. For them. It's the same love a mother would have for a child. They're not going to smother the child, but they're always going to be there available. I spoke of the time when I was in the Marine Corps and I'd drive home in the middle of the night, back in the early 60s, I guess, and I would arrive home at 2 in the morning. How the hell could my mom know? But I'd go to the front door and try to very gently, and she'd open the door right there that moment. So that's a mom's love. That's the love that your dad in heaven has. And your dad is heaven, and you're heaven, and you're good and kind and true. So as we sit by devotedly, this understanding will wash over us and through us and become us, because it is us. And we gave this wisdom up by being born into this place that is no place. I say no place because when you look the devil in the eye, he will flee from you. The devil meaning the world consciousness. And I don't even want to mention that name, but it is the entirety of the world is fear-based, and if you know that, and you're, like I sat with Tibetan monks in India a long, long time ago, and so if, the Lama spoke, or whoever, and they're disciplined in this discipline. They live with other monks not to avoid their family, but to protect their family. So there was incredible discipline. Yet they were fully men, strong, or Frida Bedi, the abbess, who's my friend, Baba Bedi's wife, they were always present, because they were deeply practiced in this sense of sitting by devotedly to God, the words of this or that, or I knew some of the Hindi words and this and that, or it meant nothing, or all we use the terms Jesus or Moses, or everyone understood it. It's this presence is God, and it's always present. So if we sit by devotedly long enough, all will be well. You're standing in the guard tower, making sure everyone's safe. And you can't go down into the community because you have to stand on the guard tower and protect the community. In your heart and your soul, the very, very delicate emotions. You'll see through everything. You'll know and understand everything. And don't think about a school book. Think about an infinite purity and wonder and decency and kindness. Think about your mom, your love, your lost love. You are protecting those people. And when we get over the sense of guilt or remorse or fear whatsoever, it's not that you'll see God, you will be God. God's greatest urgency is to give God's self away to us. That's all there is in our relationship with God. And it's an unbound ocean of presence, purity and beauty. So a great artist tries to, beauty is the face of God, tries to touch it, to reproduce it, to recreate it, to say this is, we create beauty. You become God in that act. I mean, you're not so foolish to think then because you're a famous artist or a performer that you're someone and your opinion about the world or social, political, anything means anything. That's nothing. The idea with the monk, with the nun, with you, with I, with my mom, your mom, is to feel the ever-presence of God while we're sitting by devotedly. If you sit by the river long enough, you'll watch the bodies of all your enemies pass by. There are none. It is an illusion. And yes, this is a horrible place to be, isn't it? And yet if you step beyond it by sitting by the morning light, you'll see him, the only God. You will become God again. And then you'll lift your friends, your loved, you'll be as you were before, in the before times, before churches saw light, before names were named, before anything was. You were this light that you gave up to be here. Do you understand how great you are? It's the story of Jesus, of Moses, of whoever. It's you are the living light of God. The words, you gotta transfer your senses, your sensibilities through the heart. To the ones you love, that you protect, that you care for, that you adore, that you worship. I worship my teacher, my mother, in the way I worship God. And God worships my teacher, my mother, my friends, my loved ones that I can't be near because of a lack of understanding on their part. So if you find one or two really spiritual people in your life, pray for them, protect them, provide what they need. I've had to live alone all my life because to protect my teacher, my friends, my family, so I always move away, back into the woodwork for them. And then one day you become the woodwork, the house, the farm, the lands, and the seas. You'll transfer all your consciousness in this ever-present moment back to our Father God, our friend, our self and our soul. The words are very poetic and pure, involve a beauteous kindness. It's so subtle, the purity, the beauty of spiritual consciousness. And then from that you can reside in these unending oceans of presence, of purity, of beauty. And it's simply by not fearing anything in this world, sitting by devotedly, being bathed in the light of wisdom. It's a simplicity in consciousness. And you'll find all your lost loves, your family. You'll heal all those who are worthy of healing, and then there'll be this infinitesimal being in the middle of it that we'll call Mephistopheles, Satan, the dark force. And if you give it nothing, you will come to great wisdom and understanding. You can be in any circumstance truly, respectfully and humbly, I'm saying this for you because it's like a great artist. You're going to have to figure out a lot of little details about it, but this presence called God will be with us every moment of this movement back into the light that we gave up voluntarily to experience what this is. Isn't that wonderful? Aren't you unimaginably pure and true and powerful and heroic? Understand what that means, who you are, what you've done to be here? Forget the history books of the world or anything of the world. You are this purity. You gave that up. You are the living God. Again, guilty without wanting to be, and innocent without knowing. That's us. We are that, not this. When we arrive at that, then your teachers, your friend, your mom, your dad, sisters and brothers, the ones who will be healed, you'll find them in this, and you'll help them work through their conditioning process. And you'll discover, like I have people that see me all through my life, and when they're finally, I'll listen to them, when they can come. Recently I've tried to get people to come listen who are about to go into bad things, and I can't get them to come to my place for an hour. But it has to be safe. You do a non-evaluative listening, where you just listen and guide, and they trust you, and they start letting go of their conditioning, and this happened and that, and you're just there with them until they feel safe and realize they can let go of all this, and then at a certain point you will turn into God. It's happened to me all of my life, and then the person can be empowered with this understanding. And then those in their family, or their friends, or whatever, will appear in the room somehow, softly lit, kindly, true, with remorse, regret, guilt, but love, and all in a very wonderful spiritual sense. And those family members that were just as screwed up as we were by this condition or that condition, everyone will be healed together, en masse. It'll be quite a wonderful day. It's called the end time, the last time, the end of time, where there'll be time no longer, that the mystery of God would be finished. And the mystery is, like Paul said, the Bible could only be understood with a certain reasoning, and the reasoning is that you have to be, he said it's written in a mystery. The mystery is you have to be spiritual. In my book, Island of Hearts, and the other books I wrote, you'll see that. It's just, you don't need to read the Bible to be there, and it's all, if you have this mystic sense of purity, of love, of kindness, if you separated yourself from circumstances of the world, you'll know you've never been alone. You'll know from God how great you are. You're very powerful. You'll understand with subtlety everything. You can sit with people, and I've sat with people last night, and had the recent death of a family member, this and that, all sitting at my buddy's restaurant at the bar. Very lovely people, started a couple of these big companies you hear about, and other friends, and all through my presence we all got together, and everyone became like an 8-year-old child. Love and beauty and great genius. All these people were a lot brighter than I am about things in the world and so on and so forth. But I was just simply the bathing light. And they were lit, and we were one. And that's your future. To bring back all those that are supposedly lost souls that are not lost, that are simply in pain. Please help them. Won't you help? Simply by sitting by devotedly. You'll know Him, the only God. You will know directly from God how great you are. You are a hero. Please understand, these are not just words. There are great subtleties. I spoke about them in those books I wrote, or all these videos, whatever, but just please understand that you will be directly taught of God, reminded of God, of the holy ones. You'll feel your mom or whoever has passed. My grandmom is I'm still sitting on her lap. Do you understand? And I always will be. There's nothing wrong with you. The words that were spoken this morning are the truth. And you are the light, which was to come. You'll wipe away all tears. Simply sit quietly. Allow this presence you feel from God to, sitting in your chair at home, you'll sit, think of people you love, and you'll be with them. I'll think of my teacher or whoever. I can't be near the people I love because they become targets. So I go here and there, I go along, because we're all, I think the biggest thing in this world is loneliness. And you're lonely for true love, right? And that's what your heart reaches for throughout your life. Many effective people become lost in their work. They're doing good, but they're not really. It's just marking time. And you can mark time and still be in adoration of the divine. And through that, heal all those you love. You are an ocean of light. You will heal the nations. It's your destiny, isn't it? So very quietly and devotedly sit by, and you'll find your friends and loves sitting by you as we transfer consciousness from the body to the soul. And that's what falling in love is. And it doesn't matter if it's a cat or a bird or I walk in and out of my place, I'm always ducking because there are always birds that make nests in places they shouldn't, but it's so close to my door, the front and back, and I just, they're just the love, the safety. We all know who's lost and not, don't we? Protect those that aren't lost. And most of the lost will come knocking on your door one morning, saying, I'm sorry, please let me back in. Most of them. And those that don't, they're part of the illusion. They're that thing called Satan. It's an infinitesimal subatomic particle, infinitely smaller than that in the universe. When you're spiritual, you'll experience this. So it's nothing. It's no big deal, the world. And you are God's hero from this moment on. God will teach you directly. Doesn't matter where you go, what you do, what happens. Every moment is accounted for. God actually is God. You are that, and you'll experience and see that every supposedly big deal thing in your life is not a big deal, it's nothing. And you'll be aware of different times. So God will teach you by showing you every little thing you thought or felt in your life, and why the devil was on you and what you were trying to do. And you'll know the thought streams of all the people you think are the fine people in the world, the spiritual ones, and all the others. You'll know everything. And you'll see the world as a spiritual person does, as just a glimmer of hopelessness that doesn't need to exist, no matter what the conditions are. Battlefield, whether it's in the middle of a Sunday kind of love. So I have with you, my teacher. You are my God. I'm here for you. You'll heal quickly. God will be with you every moment. And we'll make sense of this madness. And the mystery will be gone. We'll simply allow those you love to feel this presence, this purity that the wise still call God. Isn't it you? Aren't you more than this thing or these years? I beg you to understand that you are God's gift. To this world. And all the thought streams about the world or your life or time or anything, forget it. There are no experts in the world. Doesn't mean you don't respect and care for people. That's part of the nature we have, to take care of people, but through it you will be the light that we will bathe in, that we adore, that we worship, that we always were. It's not this, it's not that, it's you. Isn't it you? Aren't you wonderful and kind and true and healing and generous and brave? We cry, we have tears for the lost love in our life, which is family, which I've stayed away from. Family, friends, my teacher, whoever, for them, to protect them, because if you are an instrument, you'll understand. A lot of spiritual people lived in mountain caves, and so on and so forth, and some were torn asunder, and you understand? The world, which is this devilish place, will try to eat your body and soul and heart throughout the day and night, and as soon as you're quiet and learn in a few days to sit by devotedly, you won't be lonely anymore. You'll need nothing, want nothing except the healing of the nations, of all the good people in the world. And we're one people, one person, one soul, one God. And it's you're the healer, you're the hero. I mean this literally, to the heavens that witness your brave activity through the day and evening hours. You are the greatest human being that ever lived. You will fulfill a most spiritual destiny. That is written. The details will work themselves out in the following days and weeks and months, and all the crashing waves coming at you will cease. You will still the waters. You are an ocean of light and kindness. Any doubt you have in your mind will be you are the living light of God. God bless your destiny. Please understand what a heroic activity your life is to the heavens. Let's end this quickly, boys and girls. I see a party in the near future. I'll be there, wherever you are. Thank you for listening. Thank you very much.